Welcome. I am Claire Rosacco, Vice President of Government Relations and Community Outreach. We are so pleased that you are able to join us for this special recognition event. We will be honoring the Outstanding Advisory Committee, the Community Champions, and Special Alumni Award winners. It is my pleasure to introduce you to an outstanding leader who is the fourth president of Cuyahoga Community College, Dr. Alex Johnson. You may have heard that he is retiring at the end of this month, and he will be joining us to share some of his insights as president of Tri-C and as an education leader. He has accomplished many things while president of Tri-C, but one thing that stands out is his devotion to our students and their success. While president, he has seen graduation rates go from 3% to 24%. Dr. Johnson will be joining us this morning to reflect on his leadership journey. He will be interviewed by Bob Smith, the chair of the college's Workforce, Community, and Economic Development Department's Board of Visitors. The board is made up of business and community leaders that work with college leaders to ensure that Tri-C's workforce training programs are up to date and geared toward in-demand jobs. Bob is also chair of the Jobs Ohio Board, appointed by Governor DeWine to make sure that Ohio is competitive in its economic development initiatives. Now I will turn it over to Bob and to Dr. Johnson. Thank you.
Alex, it's a pleasure to be with you today as you're wrapping up your time as president of Cuyahoga Community College, and anxious to hear your perspectives of your presidency. So if you would, tell us about your journey through education that culminated in the presidency at Tri-C.
Thank you very much, Bob, for allowing me to be here with you today. And thank you also for the tremendous contributions that you've made to our community in so many ways, including serving as chair of our Board of Visitors here at Cuyahoga Community College. The question that you ask is a pivotal one because it was never my plan to become a college president. It was about the progression of experiences that ultimately led to serving as a president at three different institutions over a period of about 29 years now. And as I think about it, I have to reflect on my childhood, growing up in a little segregated town of Concord, North Carolina. And even though it was an environment challenged by exclusion, it was a place where community came together to really create opportunities for youth like me to be beneficial to society, whether or not that society was segregated or whether or not it was open and inclusive. I gained knowledge from hand-me-down textbooks. I joined the world of ideas from reading books from a very diminutive and library. I frolicked in a pool that could only hold 50 individuals at one time. And I learned about personal and social development there. And in my little church, Grace Lutheran Church, I understood the importance of spiritual guidance and how you really depend on that to serve as a foundation for anything that you'd like to do. And as a result of my engagement in that community, I was fortunate enough to attend and complete my undergraduate education at historically Black Winston-Salem State University. And so all of that together really created the kind of platform to make me who I am today. So as I think about that, along with exposure to individuals like you, whose values and personas, for lack of a better term, I like to emulate, and when you think about the kind of experience that I've achieved over the course of time, it really has allowed me to develop a leadership style that not only focuses on the individual and you personally, but allows you to galvanize a community in ways that you cannot even think of, that has benefit not only for the organization and for the individuals that serve it, but for the community at large and its economic development and growth. So that in a nutshell, I think represents the kind of core foundation of who I am and how I see myself as a leader, for lack of a better term.
That perspective is extraordinary, and I hope the students of Tri-C who watch this really have an understanding that when you're faced with challenges in your youth, pay attention and seize opportunities, and just follow the role modeling that you provided. So.
Well, that's very well said. In fact, when I get an opportunity to speak with young people, I talk about seizing opportunity from challenge. And we did the same thing when we addressed Hurricane Katrina when I was chancellor at Delgado Community College. And the same thing we attempted to do here at Cuyahoga Community College as we were beleaguered by COVID-19.
Let's talk more let's begin with the lessons learned from Katrina as a president of the community college at Delgado and its application to what we went through in the pandemic here.
It's interesting that you ask that because that's a question that has been posed to me on numerous occasions in the past 2 years. That there's a difference and a similarity. Mm-hmm. Okay, first of all, let me talk about the similarity. What I learned in that experience that has been applied to the COVID-19 response is that leadership can come from anywhere. And even though organizationally you might have a group of leaders, there are people out there who are serving in roles that really capitalize on the great skill sets that they have, particularly around coalescing around a particular challenge, bringing the people together in a meaningful way, helping them understand more fully their roles and responsibilities in that context. And the list goes on and on and on. And a similar thing happened when I was dealing with Hurricane Katrina. The difference is with Hurricane Katrina, there was an end. Okay? The storm hit that city in August of 2005. And the recovery lasted for a year, the immediate recovery. Okay, there still are some lasting effects, but the recovery ended after about a year to 18 months. With COVID-19, with all of these various iterations, I don't think you can refer to the pandemic as post-COVID. I talk about it as the new normal because you've got to understand that out of that experience comes all of these important opportunities to develop and refine an organization and the individuals that serve it. And that's what we've experienced here.
Wow. If you would, think about some highlights of your time as president, things that really, in hindsight, kind of wowed you in terms of, and learning from some experiences from students. What stands out to you?
There are many things that stand out, to be quite honest with you, Bob. And some of them have been challenging and others have been very rewarding. And I want to concentrate on the rewarding ones. When I think about the progress that we've made over the last 10 years, it has been phenomenal, no doubt. Increased graduation rates, increased graduation numbers, increased retention rates, and the list goes on and on and on and on. A set of outcomes that any community college, regardless of size or location, would be very, very proud of and very proud to claim. But I will tell you one incident that really helped me understand more fully the culture and the contributions of this institution. When I arrived at Tri-C back in 2013, there were more than 3,000 students, incoming students, full-time, first-time freshmen enrolled in our lowest level math class, Math 910. And as I looked at that, I realized that that was a huge impediment to individuals completing their degrees and certificates. It took them much longer than they would normally. So as I brought that information to my colleagues among the faculty at the time, they felt in some instances that I was trotting on their territory, that I had no business talking to them about what they should be doing in the classroom. And I understood that. But what it taught me was the importance of patience, the the importance of developing a guiding coalition, the importance of listening to those individuals who have expertise in a particular area. But as time went on and I continued to talk with them about that, several things happened. Number one, they essentially eliminated the 9-10 class. So right now, there are less than 100 students that go into that class every year, from 3,000 to 100. They designed pathways to make sure that the math class coincided with the major that the student was going to take. They developed ways for students to get in the classroom supplemental instruction during the time that they were taking mathematics. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on, not only in mathematics, but in English as well. The most recent thing that they've done, and I'm so very, very proud of the innovation and excellence that they exhibit, they've instituted COREX, which means that a student who comes in and takes developmental math, is placed in developmental math, at some level, they can also take the college level math class in the same semester at the same time. So we're moving from students completing college level mathematics beyond the first 30 credits to students completing that same course within the first 24 credits. Can you imagine the sea change of opportunity that presents to students as they come to the institution?
And increasing completion and graduation.
And they feel the power and the value of that. Now, why is that important? Why is this particular incident important? Because along with it, it brought a whole lot of other stuff that essentially has been institutionalized, that has changed the narrative of this institution and made it the kind of vanguard institution or college that we knew it could become. And the recognition as a result of that has been phenomenal, including selected twice as an Aspen Institute, a Community College Excellence finalist, both in 2021 and now slated for 2023. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It really is a big
Great
deal.
achievement.
Yeah.
Alex, you have a perspective that's unique. You were here at Tri-C.
Yes.
And then you left and then became a community college president, 2 other institutions of,
Yes.
of comparable size and significance.
Yes.
That perspective is unique. Tell us about what you learned about Tri-C the second time that you weren't aware of the first time.
That's a good question. So I served from 1993 until 2004, 11 years. And during that time, I learned so much that really promoted my development as a tactician around strategic planning, about developing vision, about how do you measure outcomes, benchmarking, and the list goes on and on and on. And as a result of that, along with my exposure to people like Dr. Jerry Sue Thornton, I felt that I might be able to be at an institution that had its own board of trustees, right? Because here at Metro, you didn't report to a board of trustees. So I wanted to figure out what that was like. And then I got a call from a good friend who asked me, would I be interested in the chancellorship at Delgado Community College? And as I thought about it, I said, maybe that is where the Lord is leading me. So I took those technical skills into Delgado. What I learned at Delgado was the interpersonal skills, the emotional intelligence that it takes to lead an institution through a natural disaster. I learned that experience. And then, of course, when I moved to the Community College of Allegheny County, I understood what it would be like to be the first African-American president of an institution and what that would mean, not only to the institution, but to the community. So I learned a lot over the course of time. So when I came back to Tri-C, I had that skill set that I was able to present, not only in terms of getting the job, but doing the kinds of things that are so important to its development. I also realized that there were certain aspects of the institution that made me feel very, very proud indeed. During my 9-year absence, I saw the development of Tri-C in ways that I could not have imagined. The broader networking, the national reputation, the great facilities, for example, and then just the stalwart effort to get people educated, even though it was not to the extent that we wanted it to be. The other thing was coming back to a community that had grown, blossomed, and developed, one that I truly loved. And at the end of the day, it allowed me to be around my grandbabies who were young at the time. So you put all of that together, it was, for lack of a better term, it was destiny, which I had no control over, by the way. And I was guided by my faith and my trust in the Lord. And it worked out. And here, 9-10 years later, I see myself moving on to another journey, hopefully with the Lord's blessing.
Yeah. Well, I was a part of that search committee.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Yes.
After your interview, one of your colleagues here, we were just comparing notes about what stood out about your candidacy. And one of your colleagues said, I knew Alex when he was here 10, 12 years ago. That is not the Alex Johnson that left here. And I was waiting for her response, and she said, he came back a leader.
Yeah.
I wanted you to know that.
Well, thank you.
So
Thank you.
It's obvious.
Thank you.
Alex, what are you going to miss most about your time here?
Well, that goes without saying that I'm going to miss my colleagues, having an opportunity to interact with them on a regular basis. My hope is that we will be able to cross paths individually, but collectively, and what that meant to the advancement of the institution, I will truly miss. And then, of course, I'll miss graduations in particular. As a college president, I really didn't get an opportunity to engage with the students at the level that I did as a campus president. And the time, quite honestly, when I enjoyed our interaction was during graduation, when I got a chance to go down and talk with them collectively, some of them individually, when we recognized all of their achievements and when I talked about them from the stage. Students who have gone through much challenge and trials and tribulations to make it where they are now. Granddaughters and grandmothers graduating together. College Credit Plus students earning 1, 2 associate degrees before they even earn their high school diplomas. I mean, what a tremendous recognition of them and the communities in which they hope to live and serve.
Alex, your passion for Cuyahoga Community College is obvious. I'm thinking about the conversation you may have had already on the phone, or maybe you're waiting till Dr. Bastian gets here.
Yes.
What do you want him to know about Tri-C?
Well, he knows a lot about Tri-C. Quite honestly, all of the leadership team is preparing for his arrival, and they're pulling together the appropriate documents to make sure that he understands where we are as an institution, and they will fight to ensure that we move ahead, forge ahead with this focus on access, equity, and success. I know they'll do that. I know they will.
DNA, Tri-C.
Yes, that's our DNA. That's our culture, that culture of commitment. I think Michael's responsibility is to take that all in, formulate a vision for how he wants to build upon that rich legacy of excellence and innovation that's already here, that have been established and developed by my colleagues. And I know he'll do that. I've known Michael Bastian now going on a decade, and he has acquitted himself in ways that people really don't even understand. He's an extraordinary person who has the ability to galvanize a community around the things that are very, very important indeed. I saw him do that when he was provost at LaGuardia Community College. I see him doing that as president of Rockland Community College and the way that he not only entered into that presidency, but the way he formed it. I see his impact at the national level through his membership on the board of the American Association of Community College, a board that I was on for 2 terms and served as the chair. And I also see his contributions on a board called Jobs for the Future, particularly around workforce innovation. And that's a critical area of the institution where I see the most promise. And the reason I see that promise is because, in part, of the connection that it has with people like you, Bob, through our Board of Visitors, what you've done to really promote not only Greater Cleveland, but the state. So thank you so much for that.
Well, under your leadership, Tri-C has become the go-to organization around workforce solutions.
Thank you.
And our partnership has been focused on that one issue, and out of that came a wonderful friendship.
Yes.
Alex, I want to give you a chance to say goodbye to your colleagues, to the faculty and staff of Tri-C that have really worked with you arm in arm to serve the students of this community.
Yeah.
What are your final words?
Well, it's hard for me to put into words, quite honestly, Bob.
You're up to it.
I don't know about that. I would try, but it's going to be a paltry effort. Let me put it like that, because there's no way in the world that you could put in one statement 20 plus years of interaction and engagement with an extraordinary group of individuals. And unfortunately, a lot of the ones that began serving with me back in 1993 have retired, and unfortunately, some of them are no longer with me. So what I will say to them is I've learned so much that I will take in my new journey. I will never forget them by any stretch of the imagination, and there will always be a place in my heart for this institution and my good friends, both collectively and individually. So I salute them.
Alex, could you share anything about your plans? You've got much to do. You and I have talked about maintaining high standards about where you choose to give your time and talents.
Yes. Well, I'm 71 years old, Bob. And some people would probably say, you should have retired 5 years ago. You should have retired 5 years ago. And I got some catching up to do. So there's a few things that I want to do to fill out my bucket list. I've already started. I took a trip to the Panama Canal and thoroughly enjoyed that. That was on my bucket list. I just wanted to see how that worked. And when we went through the locks, there was a ship ahead of us, and you could see the elevation. It was almost 12 stories, man. Wow. Can you imagine a ship sitting up there on water, 12 stories high? It was an amazing thing. So I saw that. The other thing that I wanted to do, I'm a University of North Carolina basketball fan and have been since the late 60s, when Charlie Scott was the first African American to play there under Dean Smith.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I remember Charlie.
Yes, Charlie Scott. And I've always been a Carolina fan. And one of the things on my bucket list was to go to a UNC Duke basketball game. So I had a chance to do that this past fall. And unfortunately, Carolina in that game lost by 30 points. The games I should have gone to were the ones where they played in Cameron, where Carolina came back and beat Duke. Yeah. And, Mike Krzyzewski's last home game, and then in the NCAA Final Four where they beat them as well. So I've got some fond memories of that. This coming fall, I want to take a trip to Paris and London. And my bucket list is to ride the train that goes underneath the English Channel. And, South Africa is one of those on my bucket list as well. So a lot of travel, a lot of hugs and kisses from my grandbabies. And I want to finish up Acts of September, which is my third book I'm working on. And I want to help organizations and individuals who feel like they have a chance to improve how they deliver services to this great community of Cleveland. And hopefully I can help them in that regard as well.
Well, you're going to be missed.
Thank you.
I've been in denial about this next, what you're going through right now, what's next. I've been a huge fan since the time you got here.
Thank you.
You bring great, authentic leadership.
Thank you.
And I think the community will look back and say, you know what, he made a difference.
Thank you.
And thank you for that. So
Thank
thank you for sharing your perspective.
Thank you.
On your journey of education. It's been
Thank you.
a real pleasure.
Thank you, my friend. God bless you.
God
Love
bless
you, man.
Likewise. Great friend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson and Mr. Smith. I would be remiss if I didn't thank and acknowledge Dr. Johnson, as this is most likely his last advisory breakfast given his pending retirement. It's been an honor to work with him over the last 10 years in his role as president. Under his leadership and tremendous focus on student access and success, we've improved success metrics, increased graduation rates, and our workforce programs have thrived. We thank him for his never-ending support that allows us to focus on the important work we celebrate today. Good morning. My name is Karen Miller, Provost and Executive Vice President of Access, Learning, and Success here at Cuyahoga Community College, and I've been asked to give you an overview of our advisory committees and introduce you to the 2022 Outstanding Advisory Committee. Cuyahoga Community College occupational programs are required by the Ohio Board of Regents and, in some cases, the Ohio Department of Education to create advisory committees. We are fortunate because this region has many professionals who lend their knowledge to our faculty and staff to ensure our students receive the very best possible education. This enables them to step into jobs as they complete their programs as valuable team members. At Tri-C, we establish additional advisory committees for special purposes, such as our apprentice programs. Each year, an outstanding advisory committee is selected based upon specific criteria, a review by a committee, and recommendations. This year, we are proud to honor the outstanding work of the Automotive Technology Ford Asset Advisory Committee. Led by Program Manager Nancy Coleman and Associate Dean Pam Grant, the committee members include Tri-C Assistant Professor Tim Ballawender and Program Assistant Kristen Tomko. The committee also includes Scott Acker of Bob Gillingham Ford, Tom Alcorn of Claiborne Ford, Richard Bertman from Nick Mayer Ford Westlake, Chad Doherty from Ford, Carl Hall from Liberty Ford, John Herzig from Ford, Eric Kunze from Ford, Darren Lewis of the Medina County Career Center, Phil Salem from Valley Ford Truck, Jeremy Watson from Liberty Ford, Parma Heights, Chad Whitaker from Elyria Ford, and Paul Weidenmeyer from Liberty Ford. Congratulations to the Ford Asset Committee. We'd like to thank all of our advisory committee members for their commitment to student success at Cuyahoga Community College. Lending expertise to inform and improve our program makes a huge difference. It's now my pleasure to welcome back Claire Rosacco.
Thank you, Karen, and congratulations to our Ford Asset Committee. We are grateful for all the work that you do. We would like now to introduce you to our 7th Annual Community Champion Award winners. These companies and individuals go above and beyond to support student success at Cuyahoga Community College. Once again, we received a number of excellent nominations and actually had a 3-way tie in the individual category. We begin with the Corporate Community Champion in the category of a business with over 50 employees, Bank of America. Since 2016, Bank of America has been a key partner to Tri-C, funding multiple programs and wraparound services that connect students to jobs in thriving industries. A gift from Bank of America supported Tri-C's Veterans Initiative, enabling custom support services to veterans and their families. About 4,500 veterans, family members, and current military personnel receive support with Bank of America's assistance. Also, about 1,000 Tri-C students and community members annually learned about workforce readiness and life skills, were connected to various community resources, received career advising, and job placement assistance through JobLink workforce training. Bank of America's support allowed 93 passionate, creative-thinking Tri-C students to participate in an immersive 16-week Cleveland Codes course to gain the skills to pursue a web application and development career. Tri-C ignited the interest of high school students in STEM studies and career pursuits through robotics training, competitions, and college credit in technology courses at the Youth Technology Academy. Each year, Bank of America's investment in this program served about 1,000 students from 18 area high schools. Extensive, significant investments in these critical programs have enabled them to grow and be sustained, while the Bank of America continues to partner with Tri-C to address new student and community challenges. The bond between our organizations is strengthened by Janine Marziani, the bank's Ohio market president, who joined the Tri-C Foundation Board in 2019 and serves as a vice chairperson. Her leadership commitment to our students and our community was critical in securing Bank of America's 4-year Skills to Succeed investment in 2021. This 4-year, $600,000 partnership will help scale and support Tri-C's adult diploma program with focus on career exploration, essential workplace skills, and job placement. This funding is part of the bank's newly expanded $1.25 billion 5-year commitment to advance racial equality and economic opportunity. Bank of America is committed to supporting innovative ways to advance economic opportunity in Cuyahoga County and create positive change within the region. The gift will help the program increase enrollment and completion, both of which were impacted by the pandemic, by enhancing career coaching efforts and access to workforce credentials while removing barriers to continuing education that include technology, transportation, and childcare. Bank of America is a strong leader and dedicated Tri-C partner, growing opportunities in our region's underserved communities and building lasting change for our area. Now we honor our community champion business with less than 50 employees. Rebuilding Together Northeast Ohio. Pam Schullerman is a Tri-C alum graduating from Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program in April of 2021. Pam's organization, Rebuilding Together Northeast Ohio, focuses on rebuilding the community, making homes safe and healthy. The organization received a grant from Lowe's in conjunction with the NFL and the draft in Cleveland to help 4 frontline worker homeowners who worked through the pandemic. Pam and her organization also launched a program called She Builds. Women-led and women-focused, She Builds provides critical repairs for women-headed households and women-focused community spaces that empowers women to maintain safe and healthy homes, make a difference in their communities, and build a supportive community network. She Builds is a powerful collaboration between Rebuilding Together and corporate and community leaders dedicated to advancing the housing and community issues affecting women. Volunteers, homeowners, and community members come to She Builds with a myriad of experiences and skills to share, and they learn from one another. Projects are led by women for underserved women. Participants learn basic carpentry and plumbing skills, electrical safety do's and don'ts, and home safety basics using an occupational therapy lens. These empowering lessons teach how to complete home repairs independently, which saves money and builds confidence. She Builds brings women together to support one another and empowers them to be the change makers in their own communities. And finally, we have 3 remarkable individual community champions we would like to introduce you to. Audra T. Jones is an entrepreneur, author, academic, speaker, mentor, and a leadership coach. Audra has served the students, staff, and faculty at Tri-C for over 10 years in the GED department and as an adjunct faculty member in the business department. Her dedication to service is evident through her efforts to mentoring students. She has consciously built a very successful business and looks to mentor others interested in the marketing communications industry. Audra has been featured as one of NBC's WKYC Live on Lakeside Everyday Champions, featured in Currents Magazine, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, and Shaker Life Magazine. Her commitment to excellence is also evident in her efforts as a coach in the Neighborhood Leadership Development Program. She has been featured in several editions of Who's Who in Black Cleveland and has served on the Speakers Bureau for former Congresswoman Marcia L. Fudge. Audra's efforts are timeless and reach far beyond the classroom, as she is a champion for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility with a commitment to service and philanthropy. Our next community champions are Bill and Joyce LITZLER. They are leaders who share a passion of enriching the lives of Tri-C students in many ways, dating back to their first gift in 2006. The LITZLERs established an endowed scholarship fund through the Tri-C Foundation that provides scholarships for graduates of the Seeds of Literacy program and other GED graduates who continue their education at Tri-C. During the 2022 academic year, the JAM GED Scholarship Fund made 13 awards of about $750 per student. Year to date, the fund has provided 99 scholarship awards. The LITZLER family has supported students from Tri-C's Hospitality Management Program as they participated in the Greater Cleveland Food Bank's Market at the Food Bank event, where students worked alongside notable regional chefs. This event has been a unique experience that connects students to culinary leaders in Northeast Ohio's vibrant food scene. The LITZLERs also regularly support the community education initiatives of Tri-C Jazz Fest Cleveland and the Presidential Scholarship Luncheon. The LITZLER family was an initial investor in Tri-C's Skills to Succeed campaign. Their desire to support an area of greatest need guided the support of Tri-C Access Centers, an initiative that connects community members with the education and job training to build a better future. Their support helps Tri-C to expand programming, both virtually and in person, and serve hundreds of community members since the centers began opening in summer 2019. The Access Centers are located in high-need neighborhood settings and provide education in partnership with trusted community organizations. The impact of this strategy follows the LITZLER's own philosophy of partnership and problem solving that has been the foundation of their business success. And our final community champion is Monica Starks, adjunct professor of sociology at Tri-C. Monica has demonstrated leadership, volunteerism, and a sense of caring and responsibility with her involvement in several committees and activities at the college. She encourages her students to attend college workshops and events by incentivizing them with extra credit. Often, her students will see her participating in the college programming she promotes, so they know she is committed to their education. The committees that Monica participates in are all voluntary. She volunteers because she believes she can help make a difference. Monica was a founding member of the Let's Talk About It monthly workshops, where the mission is to facilitate student-focused conversations which explore racial justice and inequality. This committee was created after the George Floyd murder by a Minneapolis police officer. Upon recognizing Monica's commitment to the college and our students, she was invited to join the Stand for Racial Justice, the SRJ Task Force 2 Faculty Advisory Committee. Again, this is a volunteer appointment, but she agreed because she believed she could help make a difference. She became the co-chair of the committee after a member resigned from the position. The group received an award from the Greater Cleveland chapter of the Public Relations Society of America, created a suggested equity statement for faculty to use in their syllabi, and has introduced some wonderful presentations, including international speakers. Soon, another SRJ committee working on racial justice training invited Monica to join the group, and again, she agreed to provide support. Monica is also a member of the Black American Council, where she mentors students. She has encouraged her mentees to become student ambassadors at the West Shore campus, as well as participate in the Student Leadership Certificate Program. Last February, Monica wrote a grant to take 20 students on a Black History Month enrichment trip. Students went to Detroit, Michigan on a chartered bus to the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, the Motown Museum, and a soul food lunch at no cost to the students. Cuyahoga Community College and many in Northeast Ohio benefit from our community champions, and we are proud to share their stories with you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Megan O'Brien, President of the Tri-C Foundation and Vice President of Development, who will introduce you to more amazing Cuyahoga Community College alumni. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm pleased to represent the Tri-C Foundation and Alumni Relations to present Tri-C's 5th Annual Alumni Awards in 2 categories. The Distinguished Alumni Award recognizes accomplished professionals with notable achievements and service to the community more than 10 years after completing their studies. The Rising Star Alumni Award is presented to recent alumni making a difference within the past 10 years. Today, we'll present 2 Rising Star Awards and 1 Distinguished Alumni Award. Our first Rising Star is OLENA FIRMAN. OLENA was born in Ukraine, learning to cook and bake at an early age, and considered her family kitchen her restaurant. She and her brother prepared crepes and pierogies alongside their mother, often for large family gatherings. After graduating from art school and about to continue her studies at the Lviv Academy of the Arts, she had the opportunity to move to Cleveland at the age of 20. OLENA then discovered Tri-C and enrolled in the college's English as a Second Language program. Uncertain about an art career, she decided to pursue a culinary career. The passion of Tri-C's faculty chefs inspired her to think of opening her own business. OLENA graduated in 2017 with an Associate of Arts degree in Restaurant and Food Service Management, earning another degree in 2018 in Culinary Arts, along with 3 certificates. She opened La Crepe Bakery and Cafe in Berea in March 2017, where she serves a wide variety of sweet and savory crepes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Her inspiration came from her travels throughout Europe, where the delicacy was abundant. She combines Ukrainian, French, and European-style preparation with an American touch, which has been her recipe for success. When COVID-19 hit, she and her business partner adapted, adjusted, and remained open, even expanding to a second location in Strongsville in August 2021. When OLENA moved to the U.S. alone, she thought it was the most difficult thing in her life. Then it seemed that college and opening her own business were the hardest things she'd face. All that changed this year on February 24th, which she calls the scariest day of her life. Now she constantly worries about her family back home in Ukraine. But, she says, life continues, and we all have to maintain hope and go on, no matter what. OLENA FIRMAN is an inspiration to us all, and we are pleased to recognize her as a Tri-C Alumni Rising Star. Our second Rising Star Award recipient is Augustine Torres. Augie Torres immigrated to the United States in 1996, working in the restaurant industry as he had in his native Mexico, operating his own restaurant in the Cleveland area. While working toward his GED at the federal courthouse, Augie met Elliot Huff, a training specialist with Tri-C's adult learning program, who became an encouraging force for him. After earning his GED, Elliot said to him, "What's next?" Augie thought about it and realized it was a good question. He no longer owned a business, did not have any money, and most importantly, he realized that without a college degree, his future seemed uncertain. So he enrolled at Tri-C, which seemed the right place for his new beginning. At Tri-C, he focused on enhancing his leadership skills and became a peer mentor. Augie graduated as a Jack, Joseph, and Morton Mandel Scholar with his Associate of Arts in 2018. He enrolled at Case Western Reserve University through Tri-C's grant-funded partnership program, the Cleveland Humanities Collaborative. Inspired by his studies, he returned to his native country to interview Mexicans of African descent to learn about their transitions, family, and how they cope with discrimination. Augie graduated from Case with a 3.9 GPA in spring of 2020, and last year began working at the first Spanish-speaking law firm in Ohio, where he serves as the Director of Client Relations. Please join me in congratulating Augie Torres as a 2022 Tri-C Alumni Rising Star. Our 2022 Distinguished Alumni Award winner is ERIN Huber. ERIN is a rural water, sanitation, and hygiene expert, social entrepreneur, author, documentarian, and the executive director and founder of Drink Local, Drink Tap, Incorporated. For nearly 25 years, she's been a strong advocate and civic leader working with underserved communities throughout the world. ERIN started her first organization covering Cleveland at just 16 years old. That program helped provide blankets, food, and conversation to Cleveland's homeless population. She took evening classes at Tri-C, earning both an Associate of Arts and an Associate of Science degree in 2007. She continued her studies at Cleveland State University, earning first a bachelor's degree in environmental science, then master's degrees in both urban studies and new economics and sustainability policy. She was co-founder and manager of the Huber Westfall Rooftop Garden at Cleveland State University. ERIN's been recognized for her commitment to educating and engaging youth, communities, and people of all socioeconomic backgrounds about the importance of caring for the water we put into our bodies and the water that surrounds us. In 2019, she received the Crain's Cleveland Business 40 Under 40 Award. In 2017, she was voted Best Activist by Cleveland Scene magazine and named one of Cleveland's most interesting people of 2012 by Cleveland magazine. ERIN is the executive producer of the documentary Making Waves, the executive producer and director of the 2020 documentary The Last Drop, producer of Waking Up to Water in 2012, co-author of Making Waves for Change, and she advocates for equitable water and sanitation domestically and internationally. Currently, ERIN serves on the U.S. Global Leadership Coalition Advisory Board for the state of Ohio, the Greater Cleveland Water Equity Partners Board, and as an advisor in various capacities. Please join me in congratulating ERIN Huber, our 2022 Tri-C Distinguished Alumni Award honoree. And once again, congratulations to all who have been honored here today. We are grateful for your partnership and support and so proud of your achievements. Thank you for joining us today. Because of all of you, Tri-C is where futures begin.